People often want to know what the variations are by province. I try to tell everyone it's not a contest. No one seems to pay attention to that idea. You can see there are dramatic differences. Not all of these differences are significant, statistically significant, but let me just point out some of them. In terms of the rate, we see that Alberta is just above the national rate, whereas Ontario is again just at the national rate. We tend to see lower levels of the rate of giving in the Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and Nunavut, pretty much, and then a cluster of higher level of donor rates in the eastern Atlantic provinces. See much bigger variations if we look at average donations. And here what's particularly noteworthy is Quebec at 219, Alberta leading the way at 595, and Ontario at 501. In fact, if we start to look at the averages over time, which I haven't showed you here, we see in fact there's a decline in Ontario in both the rate, in the rate of giving, and we're going to see that also in volunteering. Now, the fact that provinces vary in terms of the extent to which they give, how much they give, is not an indication of different levels of generosity. As I've already pointed out, we know that there are key demographic factors that affect this: age, education, income, and the extent to which provinces are varying in the socio-demographic makeup, we'll see those differences show through in these kinds of data. There also, of course, are cultural and historical differences. Where does the money go? If you look at the donations, just the act of giving a donation, Canadians are most likely to support health organizations, followed by social services, religious organizations, and then hospitals. But if you look at where the dollars go, the bulk of the dollars, I'm sorry, I've got 2000, sorry, I've got ahead of myself. Here we're looking at 2007 versus 2004. The big story here is that there's not a dramatic change in terms of the causes that are supported. Somewhat of a decrease in support for social services, which is notable, and education and research. Now, if we turn to the average, 2004, 45% of all dollars went to religious organizations. So back to the idea of the role of religion. It is a factor that's related to the extent to which people not only give but volunteer, but it's important to realize that in 2004, about 45% of all dollars went to religious organizations. In 2007, it's 46%. Health, and social services and hospitals, although they are more likely to receive donations in terms of the total dollar value, don't do as well as religious organizations. How do people give? Well, if you ask the average person on the street, they'd probably say, well, most charities get most of their money from telephone solicitations, because we have a habit of hearing that charities are calling us at supper time to ask for a donation. In fact, very few charities use that approach, and as you can see, very few get their dollars from that approach. The number one approach is through the mail, followed by door-to-door canvassing, and then at a shopping center or sponsoring someone. This is the actual getting the gift, and if you look at the total donation value, because religion plays so prominently in where dollars go, most of the dollars are raised through collection plates at a place of worship, followed by mail, and then we have charity events and in memoriams. So that's giving. And the story for that, as I say, modest growth in giving, with a continuing story that a bulk of Canadians are providing most of the dollars.